welcome everybody to in from Maryland, all the way from Hawaii. So I'm going to bring in Maryland to get us started. Oops, there we go.
Emily, welcome everyone to our World of Nutrition pod. Today, all about nutrition for soul. So today I have two that you get to hear from. Is Miss Tiffany Ahuna, Boss Babe Specialist and Coach GI Business Solutions. She is a local girl and passionate about supporting, empowering, and unleashing women to become their best. She's a serial entrepreneur. Journal. It's a work that walks women through exercises to figure and like themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and identify their spiritual gifts, heal from their past, and forgive themselves. Her goal is to equip women to live their best life by seeking God. All right. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for being here.
Thank you. It's such an honor, and I'm so excited to just share the wisdom I've gained over the years, of course, from mistakes. We learn best from mistakes. But I want to encourage everyone, the tips that I want to share today, even though I specialize in coaching women, can really apply to men and women. And whether you're a believer or non-believer, I think it's applicable to everyone. So my prayer is that everyone who sees this podcast and listens get at least one thing that they can apply to their life to be better. So in order to do that, we have to, quote unquote, be in the right frame set, right mindset, right? So I hear people saying, this is just the way I am. This is the way I was born, and this is the way I am. I used to have that mindset until I changed. Another thing that I get a lot, because not only with coaching, I am in health and wellness, I get a lot of people saying, it's not going to work for me because I'm not as disciplined as you are. But newsflash, I wasn't always disciplined. So I want to encourage you and leave you with the ability or the opportunity to know that you can change. You can get the life that you want. You can become the person that you want. So if you're, when you're watching this, grab a pen and paper, because I'm going to go through quickly, literally things I've learned in years in literally 20 minutes. So first, we're going to jump in. This podcast is about mind, body, and soul, which I also kind of tie in with spirit. So when it comes to your mind, and the way I operate is I'm always going to operate through scripture. So the scripture that I use that when it comes to your mind is Romans 12:2. And to paraphrase it, it says, do not conform to the ways of this world. Renew your mind to know God's way and will. So, which is good and perfect, right? And the thing about change is if it's not simple, people won't do it. So what I want to do is really break things down on a simple format. And even just for me, I started with, okay, let's just look up the basics of what is the mission of mind. And it broke down to 3 categories. So first is going to be the attitude. What is the attitude of your mind? Second is going to be your intellect. And it's perception. It really is perception. How smart do you think you are? And third is going to be the outlook of your future. What is your outlook? Do you have a positive outlook on the future? Now let's break down what to do with each category. So for the attitude of your mind, some simple tips are just one thing that's really worked for me is a gratitude journal. Whether you write it down or you just say it in your mind or out loud, it's just making the conscious effort to look for 3 to 5 things every day that you're thankful for, right? And what happens, I've been doing this now for probably anywhere for 3+ years. And what happens is you're training your mind to look for the blessings regardless of the circumstances or situation, right? So again, anything that's worthy of change needs time to implement a new habit. Now let's talk about intellect. Yes, there are people who are just born smart. They can learn quickly, pick things up. But the reality is intellect is learned behavior. It's just taking the time to learn something. So I encourage you, if there's any topic, if there's any industry, if there's anything that you want to become knowledgeable about, take the time to learn. I'm sure, like all of us, we've walked into a networking meeting or a business meeting or something where we were insecure or felt like we avoided a situation because we didn't feel confident about our knowledge. And the exciting part is, if you want to improve your intellect, all you need to do is research, find out the books, the classes, the teachers that can give you the resources that you need. So the exciting part is you have the opportunity to be intelligent about any topic that you desire. Now let's talk about outlook. Now the reality is, we all have experienced tough times, trials and tribulations, some more than others. And if you've had a really hard life, it's sometimes very hard to look to the future in a positive way. The other thing, that common thing that happens, is people are so busy trying to survive life that they're not even stopping to think about what they want the future to be. So my encouragement is, take the time to think about what you want your future to be. Me personally, I actually used to have the mindset of, I used to look or expect the worst. And I had to be honest with myself of how I was thinking and shift it. And one of the things that I do now is taking, if it's just 1 minute to 5 minutes of just being still to visualize. See yourself executing, an amazing day. See yourself buying that dream car. See yourself, buying that home you've always wanted. Whatever situation or scenario that you're encountering, you want to visualize that positive outcome. Okay, so let's jump into body. All right, so the scripture for that is 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. And this was a game changer for me, because it says that our body is where the Holy Spirit lives. It lives within us. And our body is on our own because Jesus sacrificed for our body, and we are supposed to be honoring God with our body, right? So when you think about that in terms of, like, look at your body as if it was like a rental car and you have to give it back. If you had to give your body back to God right now, would you be proud of the condition that it is in? And that was kind of like a wake-up call, and just how you can kind of put things in perspective. So let's break down the aspects of body. Okay. So the first one is going to be working out. Move your body, right? And the thing that kind of was just an aha moment, and I don't know, a lot of people think about when we're in school as kids. Every 45 minutes, you're getting up and you're moving to the next class. If you're an athlete, I was a 4-sport athlete, we're working out for 2 hours plus a day, at least 6 days a week, right? So when you get into adult life and you're working a corporate job or, whatnot, you're probably not working out 2 hours a day. You got to shift. But the reality is, our bodies are meant to move. So the encouragement of moving your body and having a goal or intent to move your body. So instead of working out to stay skinny, work out to be functional, to be able to do your everyday life things with ease, or find a goal or hobby. So for example, in me shifting to work out for beach volleyball, or work out for hiking, or working out so I can play with the kids and be functional, makes it way more purposeful. The other thing too, in working out, you have to keep it simple. You have to love what you're doing, right? So no one's going to want to work out if they dread it. So my encouragement is, you need to try different things and set realistic goals. So a lot of my clients, I tell them, if they're super out of shape and not used to having this habit, start off with 5 minutes. Work your way up. Ideally for me right now, my non-negotiable is 20 minutes. And if I have extra time, I'm working out for an hour. But the reason why it's non-negotiable now is because it's a stress relief. It puts me in a better mood. I'm a business owner, so I need the focus and clarity. And it also helps you with dealing with all the fires and just things that come up on a daily basis. So that's working out is the number one. Number two is food. And I think we all have, a struggle with food and what to know. For me, as an adult, I fluctuated up and down. In 2019, I discovered isogenics, which was my game changer. But what I discovered in that is the importance of nutrients. And the reality is we have to understand how food works for us in order to quote unquote execute a healthy lifestyle. So in terms of, just I encourage you, you have to do the work in learning about food, learning what kind of nutrients each food comes with and learning how it works for your body. So just to kind of on a high level, keep it simple. A healthy plate is half vegetables, you have protein, you have a little bit of healthy fats, and you have a little bit of carbs. And that's kind of how I always build my plates. When it comes to just every day, you want 2 to 4, adult needs 2 to 4 servings of vegetables, and which is just think of it as a handful, and 2 servings of fruits. Especially as we get older, we need way more protein. So just making sure, that your chicken, fish, steak, that you're snacking on things like beef jerky, almonds, things that are going to feed your body with protein. And the biggest, I think, breakthrough for me was eating for function, not satisfaction. Okay, so the reality is if we're eating things that fuel our body, we have energy, we have clarity, we can function, smoothly. When we're eating a lot of times for satisfaction, it's sugars and things like that are not necessarily nutrients for our body, which means our body is working overtime to break it down, which means we're tired, we're sluggish, and that's not what you want. Okay, so the thing with food, keep it simple. Find healthy meals and snacks that you love, and they need to be easy and quick to make, because if they're not easy, they're not quick, and you don't love them, you're not going to continue to do it. So, okay, so we have working out, we have food. The next thing is just self-care. And, I'm going to be brutally honest. I just discovered or took time to invest in self-care during COVID. So I'm a local girl, tomboy at heart, we kind of just go. So I had no clue, about self-care and what you need. And I just decided to do the research. What does a skincare routine entail? How are you supposed to take care of your hair? Everything from makeup to fashion and all those different things. But the reality is, what I learned is if you don't take the time to invest in yourself, then you're teaching yourself that you don't value yourself. So literally just taking 5 minutes to do a face mask, or 5 to 20 minutes to do that, being intentional with your time to take care of yourself and invest yourself, is telling yourself that you're valued and that you're worthy, and it builds confidence. Okay, and then the last thing is sleep. Unfortunately, our culture nowadays is the hustle culture, and we're proud of, hashtag team no sleep. And the reality is that's not a good thing, right? So studies say you need to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. When I first saw that statistic, I thought that was crazy, because what business owner or what busy mom and dad are able to get that type of sleep? But what I've learned is when you make it a priority, and because it's a necessity, you can make it happen. So when it comes to sleep, have a good bedtime routine, whether it's turning off all of your cells and screens at a certain time. For me, reading is good because it puts me to sleep. So that's a good routine, but also prepping and planning. If you have to be up at 5, make sure you're in bed at 10, make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. All right, moving into soul, which I also soul and spirituality. And the verse for this one is Luke 8:14 through 15. And to paraphrase this scripture, it's basically saying that good seed, is those who are noble and are good-hearted, who are retaining the word and also producing good fruit. So for me personally, the aspects of soul and spirituality is, number one, having an intimate relationship with the Lord. And a lot of people struggle with having an intimate relationship with a being. And what I would encourage you to say is think about your best friend, right? Your best friend is your go-to person. You go to them when you're happy, you go to them when you're sad, you enjoy their company, you have fun with them, and take all of those aspects of that relationship and apply it to God. So think of God as your bestie, and shift that. So you're spending time, you're listening, and you're creating an intimate relationship with him. Number 2 for soul and spirituality is being in the Word and reading your Bible. And the reason why I feel this is a non-negotiable is I view the Bible as life's manual, right? So when you read the Bible, whether it's one scripture, a chapter, a reading plan, with the intention of gaining wisdom and knowledge of how to do life with excellence, it's a game changer. And the words pop out of the page in a different way, and it speaks life to you. It holds you accountable to being that good person. And then the third thing is walking the walk, right? So it's no good to read the word and have the knowledge if we're not executing it. And when I say walking the walk, that means that words and actions are God honoring. So everything, the goal is everything that we do with love, kindness, honor, respect, and honesty, right? So the goal is to seek the relationship with God, read the word and get the knowledge, and then apply it by doing our everyday life. And then the last thing when it comes to soul and spirit is feeding your soul. And what I'm referencing in feeding your soul is finding that activity, whether it's going to the beach, whether it's reading a book, whether it's, dancing, whatever you do by yourself that doesn't involve anybody else, that rejuvenates you, that gets you excited, that just literally feeds your soul and makes you just feel good. And by doing that, we're able to deal with all the junk of the world, right? It's easier to doing that. But the main thing is we need to do these things first before we take care of other people. So now we have all this, different tips and knowledge. How do you apply it, right? I'm a person of simplicity. I believe God is a simple God and he's a clear God. So how do we apply this to our life? Number 1 is we have to assess where we're at. So where are you mentally? Where are you physically? Where are you spiritually? And the biggest thing about this is being honest. And especially if we have the desire to be friend and good, it's very hard to be honest and accept that we're doing things wrong. But the best way to do this is to take your emotions out and look at the facts. Look at the words and actions and assess and get insight of what are you doing that's getting the unfavorable result or not getting the results you want. So number 1 is to assess. Number 2 is now to identify where you want to go. And I can't tell you how many times I ask this question to my clients and they have not even thought about it. They have no clue. What do you want in life? Who do you want to be? And the best way to do this is also to involve God, because what we think we might want might not be the best thing. So when you include God in that decision making, he knows exactly what the best thing, the best way to do things in life and the best things to strive for. So number 2 is identifying where you want to go. Number 3 is creating a plan to get there. And I'm going to tell you, the more specific your plan is, the better. So I think a lot of times weight is usually the easiest one to go, the most common goal and the easiest one to use as an example. So when you say, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, so what are you going to do to lose those 10 pounds? Okay, I'm going to work out and eat healthy. Okay, but that's not enough. So how long are you going to work out? What are you going to do for that workout? Okay, if you're going to eat healthy, what are the meals? What is your plan to go grocery shopping? What are you going to eat for breakfast? What are you going to eat for snacks, lunch, dinner? One of the biggest tools that has worked for me is MyFitnessPal, and just being able to count the calories and understand the nutrition of the food that I'm consuming and being able to make adjustments. But again, when you create the plan, you have to also understand your habits, understand lifestyle, and create a plan that's set up for success. And then the last thing is, of course, to do the work. So you have to do the work. And I want, the reality is, if you set a goal, any goal you set, you should be able to achieve, because it's simply right? You set a goal, you do the task, achieve the goal, and you achieve the goal. So I want to empower everyone that you can achieve anything you want. It doesn't matter your circumstances, it doesn't matter your past, your skill set. You can develop anything and everything that you want to be in life. So get excited, start dreaming big, think of things that you want to achieve in life, and go get it. But most importantly, have fun, enjoy the journey, and keep it simple. That's the biggest thing, is keep it simple. And I just wanna biggest thing, if you're not getting the results you want, results don't lie. So I think a lot of people have the expectation of, I'm going to create a goal, I'm going to create a plan, and I should get it. It doesn't usually work that way. We have to, sometimes the solution we come up with, it doesn't work. So I'm going to encourage you, you need to try and keep trying until you get the result that you want. So if you're doing the work and not getting the result, either you're not working hard enough or you're doing the wrong work. So you have to shift and reassess or assess what you're doing and shift. Ask people who have the results that you have, how they did it, and see if that works for you. But just keep trying until you get what you want. All right. And that's all I have for you today. I'm right at the 20 minutes.
Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Yeah.
So many notes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love it. So what I loved is that, finding activities that we love. How can we figure and make it simple? Because people can do simple things, right? When we do it simply, we find something simple. I was thinking, I love grounding at the beach. I live 10 minutes away from the beach, so I could do that. And then I also wanted to give you a shout out with your journal. I have Tiffany's journal here. It's fantastic. Something that I loved about the journal, which is something I've been seeing you say in your journal, if you don't heal from your past, you'll bleed out into your future. And what I've been saying is, if we are either living our lives from history or from the past, or we're living our lives in inspiration. So which do we want to live in? Inspiration or the past or history? So I love this. Please tell everyone how they, you're welcome. Please tell everyone, how can they reach you?
And I'm going to say the easiest way is going to be on Instagram under the handle at SGI_BIZ. So that's S as in start, G as in grow, I as in improve, _B as in business, I as in indigo, Z as in zebra. Also, I know not everyone has Instagram, so you can also find me on my website which is sgibusiness.com.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Awesome. And we will go on to our next guest. I will introduce him. Dynamic entrepreneurs and executives hire Daniel Aaron to catalyze miracles in their lives and ventures. He's an inspirational author, vibrant life coach, and transformational entertainer with 28 years of experience and proven success. He's a CEO of the Art of Vibrant Living and the host of its live video podcast, The Art of Vibrant Living Show. His best-selling book, The Art of Spiritual Leadership, 40 Laws to Transform Your Life and the World, has made a significant impact in the realm of personal and spiritual development. His methods offer practical steps to achieve tangible outcomes, guaranteed fun, and upliftment to all involved. Thank you so much, Daniel, for being here. Take it away.
You are so welcome, and I am so happy to be with you, Marilyn, Tiffany. That was amazing. Holy. That was like the most powerful 20-minute concentrated, great information ever. And I love that you kissed everybody. And by kiss, I mean K-I. Keep it simple, sweetheart. So yeah, and so I'm delighted to be with y'all, and let me give to you something that I hope really complements nicely all the wisdom and clarity that Tiffany brought to y'all. And I'll put it this way. I am now 328 years old. Pretty good, right? For that age. Not quite that old. However, and the first, quarter century of my life, I struggled mightily with my weight, with what I thought about my weight, my body image. I was a fat boy. I hated. There's so much information out there about what to do, right? You can get it all. And it also comes down to, it's not that complicated on the level, eat stuff that's good for you and move your body. If you want to have less weight, eat less, move more, right? It ain't rocket surgery. That said, why is it that so many of us know that stuff in our head, yet our actions are not commensurate with that? Like we know what to do. The problem isn't knowing what to do. The challenge for most of us is more getting ourselves to do what we know. Does that make sense? Are y'all with me? I'm just going to assume you're vigorously nodding your head. So how do you do that? Like what does it take to get that? And I'll tell you, first 25 years for me was like beating myself up, trying to punch myself, force myself, kick myself in the butt to motivate myself to do the things I thought I should do, then not doing them well, then feeling guilty about it, then starting the cycle over again. The biggest shift that came for me comes down to the single most important thing I can share with you. It's the single most important, highest leverage activity focus that I work on for myself with all of my clients. And it is this question: who do you need to be? Right? Because here's the thing. All right, let me backstep a second. Being might not be really obvious what that means. So let's take a look at this. Everybody knows we're not human doings, we are human beings, right? And so it's our being that determines everything in our life. And by being, what I mean is, like, what's the state we are in? What's our vibration? What's our identity? Or if none of those are really making it click for you yet, what are the thoughts that you think about yourself on a regular basis? Because that's who we are. And one of the most important truths about human psychology, motivation, and behavior is this: we will always find a way to behave in a way that is connected to who we are, right? Put it another way, the need for the human to behave according to identity is paramount. Can't help it. It's just the way it is, right? So if you go up to someone you go up to 10 people on the street and say, hey, would you like a cigarette? Right? Most people are either going to say yes or no. What's going to be the determination to whether they say yes or no? Are they a smoker, right? If somebody's a smoker, they say, oh, yeah, sure, I'll have a cigarette. If somebody's not, they say, no, I'm not a smoker. I don't do that, right? So when we get clear on who we are being, right, then everything falls into place around that. Right? Now, here's a radical discovery, because honestly, most people are not talking about this or aware of this. 3 fundamental principles that are hugely important. And if you get this, y'all, if you take this in and apply it, right? Because Tiffany was right on what she said, that, don't just take this all as information, like find something that you can implement in your life, right? Again, it's what we do, not just what we know. These three truths, if you get them and apply them in your life, it'll change everything, not just your nutrition, your body, your health, every aspect of your life, everything that you want to create or everything that you want to let go of is easy if you get this. And that is, one, you can't help the fact that you are always being. If we're alive, we are being a certain way. Okay, fundamental, inescapable. Everybody is, quote, being. Number two, you can observe how you are being, who you are being, right? Most people aren't. Most people don't consider that, haven't thought about it. You, though, now have it, right? Because it's right there. We've brought your attention to it. And what you can observe, you can, guess what the third truth is? Da-da-da. You can do something about it, right? So you're always being, inescapably, fundamental truth, nature of life. Number two is, wow, a lot of thumbs up going on. That's exciting. Ooh, do y'all know this trick? This is so fun. The 2 thumbs up. Let's celebrate the fact that you are here. Oh my God, that's worthy of fireworks. And no, seriously though, the fact that you're here, like you're right now, instead of eating a double grande fries from McDonald's, although you could be doing that at the same time, fair enough. But instead of doing that, what are you doing? You're tuned in here to Marilyn's show to get information, to learn about creating yourself into even more of who you want to be even more vibrant. That's cool. I love you. I love that that's what you're up to right now. That's amazing. So, more fireworks for you. Okay, so let's rewind. You're always being. It's inescapable. Number two, if you want to, you can observe how you are being, right? Number three, from that, you can affect or change how you are being, who you are being. And if you do that, everything in your life is going to change, right? So this is fundamental laws of spirituality, success, behavior, psychology, just basic, just the way it is. I didn't make this up. I'm just telling you. And so check this out. If you plant an apple seed, what is going to grow from that? I know, it's not a trick question. It's not going to be a pear tree. It's not going to be a mandarin tree. It's going to be a apple tree, right? And this is the way it works with being. If you are being loving, what's your behavior going to be like? What are your words going to be like? Right? It's the way it is. So if you are being loving and you walk into a situation where somebody's having a stressful day, right? How are you going to speak to them? Well, you're going to find a way to love on them because that's who you are being, right? It's just fundamental. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to like review your notes. Okay, what do I say to be loving? No, it just comes out naturally because that's who you are being. So one way of looking at this is, and by the way, part of why this is potentially radical information is because most of us humans have got it really backwards. We focus on what we want to have, right? The stuff that we want to have in our lives, or even the experiences that we want to have, right? We focus on what we want to have, and then we think about, okay, in order to have that stuff, what do I need to do in order to get that stuff, right? That's the way I grew up, right? That was part of the standard American SAD diet. It wasn't just the lack of nutrition that I experienced as a kid, all the processed food, better living through science mentality. That was part of it. But it was also the media, the thought forms, the attitudes that I ingested as a kid had that backwards mentality, focusing on what we want to have, what we need to do. And then if we have that, and if we do that, well, then I will be happy, content, satisfied, right? The reverse is actually the way it works. Who do we need to be? And however we are being will determine what we say, what we do, how we perceive the world. And check it out. I bet you y'all have heard of this thing called the law of attraction, right? How does the law of attraction work? Birds of a feather are attracted to each other. It's who we are being that determines who's attracted to us, right? There's a fundamental truth to why you're here right now, which is Marilyn is being positive, excited, giving value out to the world. That's just who she is, right? And you're responding to that. That's part of why you're here. You're like, yeah, I want some of that. I want to be around that. That feels good. So if you're with me and you're grokking this conversation, the question becomes, well, who do I need to be? Who do I want to be? Right? Being is like going to the source of life, the source of the stream. For everything is downstream from there. So it's our highest leverage activity. We get the most valuable value from starting with being. So as you are now considering, feeling into, thinking about, who do I need to be in order to have the body I want, the energy I want to have, the appearance? How do I want to feel in my body? Well, guess what? Would it be something like a healthy, vibrant, excited, energized person, right? So when somebody comes around with the dessert plate at the end of the meal and they say, do you want the triple extra cheesecake or the Oreo Supreme heart attack plate? Your response is going to be on some level, if I'm a healthy person, if I know that my energy, my body, how I feel about myself is what's most important, that's just like whether somebody offers you a cigarette or not, right? If I'm not a smoker, I don't want the cigarette. If I'm a healthy person, well, I don't want the triple extra Oreo. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I do want it, right? I love chocolate. Excellent. That's the basis of my diet is chocolate superfood smoothies. So I'm not saying don't eat the Oreo Super Supreme, whatever it is, right? Having some pleasure in the midst of your diet, in the midst of what you consume, awesome. Because discipline also runs out, right? We run out of discipline. So we want to get first, who do I need to be, right? I am being somebody who's healthy, who has plenty of energy, who loves how they feel in their body, right? And then it becomes really natural and easy to eat in a way that corresponds with that, to be interested in, and right, you're already doing this to some degree, right? Because you're here. You're interested in this show, in this information, right? So you're already tuned in that way. Now, pausing for a moment, and I'll put it this way to you. I've been obsessed with personal and spiritual development now for 29 years. 29 years ago, God happened to pop in, say hello. And by the way, God was not a word I could have used at that point in my life. Nonetheless, God grabbed me by the hair, which was on my head, not my chin at that point, lifted me up and said, dude, there's more to the world than you've been seeing. That was a life-changing moment or series of moments for me. From that point on, having tasted oneness, having tasted the glory of connection with the divine, yet not knowing fully how to live into that, I got obsessed with personal and spiritual development, which included focus on nutrition, food, movement, how to be vibrant, right? So in my 29 years of this obsession, right, and now literally having worked with tens of thousands of students and clients around the world, the single most important thing that I know, that I do, that I have learned is getting clear on who I am being. And I have a document, what I call my Supreme Self Manifesto, which is a set of statements, most of which begin with the following two holy words. You know them. I am, right? I am, whenever we say or write, I am, what we are doing, whether we know it or not, this is a big, big power. We are declaring to the universe, to God. We are declaring, this is me. This is who I'm being. This is my identity. Heaven and earth move in correspondence with that declaration. So powerful is our word, especially as we learn integrity, accountability, the value of keeping our word. So, two most important things. One, get clear on who you are being. And I encourage you to create your supreme self manifesto. You at your highest, at your best, who you most want to be, how you want to show up in the world, how do you want to feel, how do you want people to feel you, what do you want to contribute to the world. It all comes from this set of statements. And guess what? Everybody has one. Whether they've written it out or not, they've got a set of declarations about who they are. You hear it. People say it accidentally sometimes. And whether they say it out loud, it's in there, right? If we were to dissect someone's thought forms, right, you would find people have beliefs about themselves, right? I am wonderful. I am lazy. I am tall. I'm fat. I'm smart. I am weak, whatever. We all have these thoughts, mostly unconscious, and we can make them conscious. So the two most important things, one, get clear on who you are, who you choose to be, because you get to make it. It's up to you. You are the author of your life. You're doing it anyway, so you might as well do it intentionally. And then number two, clarity on who you are, who you want to be, who you choose to be, then activate that on a daily basis, energize it, right? So there's the Supreme Self Manifesto, and then there's the Supreme Self Sacrament. And by which I mean the sacrament is on a daily basis, activate it, energize it, create it. For me, that's part of a daily ritual. Every day, I remind myself of who I am at my best, and I activate it. And so I live from that on a daily basis. And I could go on for the next 2 hours about this and how important it is. And I'm happy to connect more in other ways if you would like to. And I will pause and take a breath because time flies, y'all. So let me stop there. And Marilyn, Tiffany, what to say? How we doing?
So good. Yeah, I took a lot of notes too. I started writing I am statements in my notes because I want to be that person. I want to act as that person as well. So thank you for that.
Pleasure. Yeah, powerful.
How are you doing, Tiffany?
You're on mute still.
Yes. I too took notes, and I think for me, I do teach affirmations, but I got away from the I am statement, so that I took a note to make sure I go back and make sure everyone's doing I am. But I mean, I think we overlapped a lot in terms of, you have to be conscious of what you're being and identify who you want to be. But your example of the cigarette was very clear. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to make choices based on who you're being. So you have to be mindful of who you're being. So that was great.
Marilyn, how are we doing on time? Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely, yes.
Because you reminded me, Tiffany, of something really important. And there's this, most people know what affirmations are. And then there's some debate, well, do they work? Do affirmations work? And yes, no, it depends. And the reason it depends is because for any of us, if we affirm, right, we use affirmations, we say, I am wonderful, I am amazing, I am rich, yet some other part of us doesn't believe it. So we say, I am wealthy. And then some other part of us goes, no, you're not. You can't even pay your rent, right? If we have that undermining belief, then the affirmations, not only don't they work, they actually make things worse because now I'm not that and I am a liar, right? I just lied about this thing. So a really important part of this conversation, and again, it's a bigger conversation. We're just giving you a tidbit here. Big important part of how to create one's manifesto, one's clarity about one's potential as a set of declarations. It also requires some healing or compassionate self-forgiveness to take care of, love, integrate the parts of us that think we are inadequate. Now, we've all had messages in one place or another that says, hey, you're not good enough, right? And if we believe those, and we all have to some degree or another, we can have this sort of weakness. It's like we can have a bucket and fill it up with goodness, all kinds of I am statements about who we want to be. However, if we have a set of holes in there because we don't feel good enough, whatever we pour in, it's just going to drain out. So another important part of this is to also heal, to forgive ourselves for perceived inadequacies.
Yeah. Can I piggyback on too, because that also sparked just, I think you said it well in saying, who are you being? And I think especially because a lot of people struggle with their healthy journey. And what I learned personally is I didn't even realize again, you have to be aware, right, of who you're being. And I was stuck in diet mentality, right? And diet mentality is I'm going to eat a certain way and I'm going to work out for the short period of time till I get the goal. It's not I'm going to be healthy, right? So that whole thing of, it's a lifestyle, not a diet mentality. So I think it kind of just tie it in, right? And it can be applied to everything. It's a way of life. It's not a short-term thing. And then the other part, this is my saying, my go-to, how do you make it work? How do you make it work? No matter, right? Like, so we're talking about affirmations and we all do, right? When you're trying to become and embody that affirmation, there's that, well, I'm not that, okay, so how do I make it work? And just, again, being conscious of who are you being and who do you need to be to make that affirmation fact.
Beautiful. Yeah, so nicely said. And there's two parts to a manifesto or a document or an identity. When we create it, there's going to be one part that's just fundamentally true, right? Like one of my statements is, and I say this to myself at least twice a day, I am infinity and divinity. That's just fundamentally true. I am the universe. I am God. I am a perfect child of God. Fundamentally true, inarguable. That's the way it is. Then there are other statements that we could call aspirational, right? Which are, I aspire to be this way. Like one of mine is, I am unconditional love and prodigious patience. Right? I'm unconditional love and just patience. And guess what? If you ask any of the people that are closest to me, they would tell you, not always, buddy. You're not always so patient. You're not always unconditional. And they're right. I agree, and no argument. And I'm aspiring to that. So what's really cool, related to what you just said, Tiffany, is when we create statements that are aspirational, I say, I am this. Well, when we affirm that regularly, then all the ways that we are not that also show up, right? And they show up in a way that says, well, wait a minute, are you sure that's what you want to do? Because that's not in alignment, that's incongruent with who you say you are choosing to be, right? So it hastens, it speeds up our process of becoming that. It's like, I think of it as a psychological, spiritual exfoliant, right? We say, I'm going to be this, and it starts scrubbing out all the ways that we're not that as part of our journey. And it keeps it in our awareness.
That's good.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. Please tell everyone how they can find you.
You know, it's ridiculously easy these days with this worldwide interweb situation. So you can find me on my websites the easiest way, danielaron.com, DanielAaron.com. I'm also on most of the social media platforms. And you can just send me an email, Daniel@DanielAaron.com. And yeah, I would love to connect with you, get to know you, support you however I can.
Thank you. Yes, Daniel is such a huge supporter and collaborator. I appreciate Mutual Aid Network. Also, I wanted to just talk a little about Frequence, the new company I am promoting, because, you know, frequency is healing. I've learned that there's 11 different harmonic frequencies that help to heal the different organs in our bodies. And it's just been life-changing for my family. So thankful. And so if you are interested in learning about frequency, how frequency meets nutrition, I would love to talk with you. One of my girlfriends, she just had chronic nausea. So if you know somebody who has chronic nausea, please connect with me. I would love to share a little bit more. And we look forward to having you on our next World of Nutrition podcast next month. And we'll have two amazing guests. Thank you again, Tiffany, Daniel, for being here. And we'll see you next time.